The whole Victor Valdez situation at Manchester United last year under Louis van Gaal was messy. And this year it looks like it might be Jose Mourinho and Bastian Schweinsteiger. Now, it's been a whole strange situation since the very, very beginning. And what we want to do is run through a whole timeline of events, running you through everything that's been said, everything that's been reported, up until where the story is today. And it all starts 29th of July. Bastian Schweinsteiger retired from international football. It was expected after the Euros. I don't think he was as good or as dominant as he was in 2014 when Germany won the World Cup. And, you know, he's over 30 now, retiring from international football, concentrating on club football. Everybody expected it. 30th of July, there were initial reports that Mourinho is prepared to sell Schweinsteiger. Now, this is expected because he's an older player. Mourinho's coming in, clearing the decks of the players he doesn't want. Now, on the 1st of August, there are reports that Schweinsteiger was wanted by both AC Milan and Inter Milan, the two Italian clubs. Nothing ever materialised from these reports, but they are not the only ones to emerge this summer. Now, the 1st of August is actually when it started to really get messy. There were reports that Schweinsteiger had been asked to train in a different dressing room by Mourinho, and that his locker had been cleared out of the first team dressing room. And soon after those reports, Bastian Schweinsteiger's brother Toby, he tweeted saying no respect. Now that to me looked like a whole situation where it did actually happen, and Schweinsteiger, as we know, actually did get frozen out of the team. So these reports were probably correct. As I said, very similar to the Valdez situation, he was frozen out, trained in a different dressing room, didn't play with the first team. And was the same thing happening to Schweinsteiger? That's what initial reports said. And then if you look at reports that came out in the couple days after that, Karl-Heinz Rummenigge, the Bayern Munich CEO, was saying that the whole situation was not good and that Man United should be treating Schweinsteiger with more respect. Pretty much what his brother Toby was saying as well. And on the 5th of August, Carlo Ancelotti ruled out a return to Bayern Munich for Schweinsteiger. So his options were starting to get limited. 10th of August comes around and there's separate reports that Premier League clubs are interested in a move for Schweinsteiger. So we've had AC Milan, we've had Inter Milan. Now we've got Premier League clubs. Is anything going to happen? Is he going to go? We all know he didn't. On August 23rd, there were initial reports that Schweinsteiger would actually be staying at Man United. So despite all of these reports, despite the fact he's been frozen out of the team by Mourinho, was Schweinsteiger actually going to stay? Lo and behold, on August 24th, Schweinsteiger himself releases a statement saying that Man United was the only club that he could have left Bayern Munich for, that he's not joining any other club in Europe, that he wants to thank the fans for their amazing support. Now, at that time, everybody was thinking, right, he's not going to go to a European club, maybe MLS or China, but I do believe at that time, both of those transfer windows were closed. Let me know in the comments if I'm wrong on that. Maybe I am, but it just didn't look like a move was going to materialise for him. And then on August 26th, Mourinho commented on Schweinsteiger. When talking about whether Schweinsteiger would play, he said, I think it's very difficult to happen. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm saying it's very difficult because we have made a decision about Pogba, Herrera, Fellaini, Schneiderlin and Carrick. We have 5 players for 2 positions, so it's very difficult for an opportunity to arise. I cannot answer for him. It's his life, his career. He has a contract with Man United. He has a right to make that decision and stay. That's not a problem for us. Football is made of decisions. I did that all my career, not just me. Everyone does. But some players react in a different way. To be honest, Bastian is not speaking a lot. He gave his last statement, which he is completely free to make in an objective way, like he did. So that was Mourinho commenting on Schweinsteiger, basically saying there's so many players who are playing in these positions, Bastian, how am I going to play you there? Because you're not in favour. He's effectively saying he's got very limited opportunities at Man United this year. He made that clear during the transfer window, but Bastian decided that he wanted to stay. And then Schweinsteiger, he commented on his relationship with Mourinho, and he had this to say. He said, my wish would be to continue playing for Man United. I have no personal problems with Jose Mourinho. One thing is for sure, I'm not going to stop playing football. I still believe in my own ability. I could still help Man United if given the chance. I've become more mature. I know how to deal with such situations. I already had more difficult moments. I'm fine. So Schweinsteiger going toe-to-toe with Mourinho, I suppose. Mourinho saying he hasn't got enough opportunities for Schweinsteiger. Bastian coming out straight away and saying, I'll wait. I'll wait for my opportunity, and when it comes, I will take it. I believe in myself. Now, on the 2nd of September, the first bit of major news, I suppose, there was that Schweinsteiger was named in Man United's Premier League squad by Jose Mourinho. But then just a day later, Schweinsteiger was left out of the Europa League squad. So he's in one and out of the other. And looking at this completely objectively, I think this is more to do with the fact that in the Premier League squad, you can name, so Martial, Luke Shaw, quite a lot of players were named in the under-21s list. So they didn't have to be named in the main list. Whereas in the Europa League, there's only 4 players on a B list. So there's less space for players in that squad. And Schweinsteiger was the first one to be cut. But that is really indicative of his situation at Man United. He is the first player to be cut. He is so far down the pecking order. I mean, that is the full situation with Schweinsteiger, right back from when it started after Euro 2016 to where we find ourselves now. My opinion on this whole Schweinsteiger situation, I think he can still offer something to Man United. I don't doubt his ability, but obviously not in a midfield running role. He's got to play in a very disciplined central midfield role, pretty much what Fellaini is playing. And I could potentially argue that Schweinsteiger playing that role instead of Fellaini would offer what Fellaini does plus more, because we all know that Schweinsteiger is a better footballer. But looking at the whole situation, I think Schweinsteiger's dug his heels in so he didn't have to leave the club. I think Man United could have been far more proactive in actually finding Schweinsteiger a new club. But lo and behold, he has stayed. Let me know your opinion on this situation. Do you see a role for Schweinsteiger this year under Mourinho? Mourinho said there's not going to be many chances. Bastian said he's ready to wait for his. So you've got a manager that doesn't want a player who doesn't want to leave the club, and we find ourselves with a 200 grand a week reserve in a team. That's expensive. It's not my money, not your money, so I don't really suppose it matters that much, but it's just a strange situation, and Man United should have learned after Victor Valdez last year that you shouldn't let it happen. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Is there a role for Schweinsteiger to play this year? Drop a like on the video as always, and subscribe please to United People's TV. And we'll see you all very, very soon with more videos, and obviously lots of build up to the Manchester derby on Saturday. Take it easy.